Every time I ever film a makeup video, I'm reminded of that era of YouTube where everyone was making sex-proof makeup videos. And I just think to myself, why would you ever want that? Like, for one, isn't it just sexier to let your makeup like melt off your fucking face and you look just destroyed at the end? Second of all, I don't think I've worn makeup during sex since I was 22. Listen, I have very nice skin. I would rather not break out as a result of pleasure. Anyways, figured today I would just do my makeup for you guys. Not that it's interesting or different than any of the other times you've seen me do my makeup. I'm a cartoon character, okay? I do my makeup the same way every single morning, and it's fun. I'm sorry, if you had purple hair, would you be doing your makeup any other way? No, you would not. And I asked you guys over my Instagram to submit any questions that you might have, because it's been a while since we just sat down and chatted. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now let me just answer a question right off the bat here, because I can already see the comments rolling in and they're all gonna say, Maddie, what is this beautiful pink keyhole bodysuit that you're wearing? And I'm so glad you asked, because it is from Parade, which is the sponsor of today's video. Parade is where I buy absolutely all of my cutest bralettes, underwear, and loungewear. And I do have a code for them, don't you worry. But first, let me try on some of my newest Parade sets so you can see a little bit of what they have to offer. This first set I am so excited about. It's from the Parade and Gani collab. Gani's another brand that I shop from and love, so when I saw that Parade and Gani were doing a collab together, I couldn't wait to get my hands on one of these sets. And this one does not disappoint. I am obsessed with the little lacing on the back of the panties, and I think the color palette of the set in general is just the absolute cutest. Next up, I've got the most gorgeous to die for lavender lace set. This might be one of my all-time Parade favorites. Listen, you know purple's my favorite color for a reason. And you guys also definitely know that if I can show a little nipple, I'm gonna want to show a little nipple. So I love that this set is a little bit more sheer, and also I love the thickness of the bralette band. Just makes me feel a little bit more locked in as someone with a larger chest. And last but certainly not least, we've got one of the sets that I wear the absolute most, which is another one of their new cotton collection sets. These are the underwear that I wear every single day. Their cotton underwear is the most comfortable underwear I have ever worn. So I'm pretty sure I own these exact panties in quite possibly every single color they've ever offered them in. I'm kind of like a Parade collector at this point, some would say. So if you're interested in trying out Parade yourself or grabbing any of the items that you've seen me wear from Parade, past or present, you can go to yourparade.com and use code Maddie25 for 25% off your first order. To start us off, I'm gonna use the Kosas Revealer Concealer, just a tiny bit underneath my eyes. I do not wear any foundation anymore. I was doing skin tints for a minute, and then I just decided that my skin looks better when I put nothing on top of it, so now I don't touch it. Speaking of purple hair, someone asked, I love the purple hair, but I'm curious how hard / expensive the upkeep is. I get my hair redone every like 6 weeks, and I re-bleach the roots every 12. I do not do it myself. In no world would I do it myself. Listen, growing up, my mom was a hairstylist, owned her own hair salon. My mother would roast me on a skewer if I ever tried to touch my own hair. I go to someone else. I care about the integrity of my hair. I don't want it to fall off my head. And depending what exactly I'm getting done, if I'm also getting a cut, if I'm doing the bleaching, it'll range between like $300 and $600. So it's definitely an investment to have hair that looks this good, but it looks this fucking good. Next up, I'm gonna be doing the Kosas Air Brow in shade medium brown. I got my eyebrows laminated for the first time a few months ago. They're not laminated right now. I'm pretty sure it's all worn off by now. I loved it, but I'm pretty sure it changed the color of my eyebrows. Like, I got home and I was like, this looks incredible. Why do I kind of look like I have bleached eyebrows? I liked it, but it definitely changed the color of my eyebrows. I was like, my hair is not this light. Why does it look like that? I forgot how hard it is to do makeup in a camera viewfinder. I can't see shit. Has your dating profile changed since you made the video on it? Absolutely. I made the video on my dating profile like almost 2 years ago at this point. So that would be wild if I had not updated my profile in 2 years. I've been off dating apps for the summer, recently re-downloaded Hinge and only Hinge because that's the only dating app I will tolerate. So my profile is nice and fresh. I'll pull it up. I don't think that I'm embarrassed to show this. First photo, me, little picnic in the park with the flowers. Then I added in this video. It's a little cringe, but I look really good. So the dorkiest thing about me is I play trivia every Wednesday and make merch for every milestone we hit as a team. This is my one and only personality trait. Then I've got 2 pictures of me and my bestie, full body pic, and then us drinking wine in Italy. Living at large. Next prompt is I'm looking for a romantic nerd to write love notes to. Then I've got a video of me and my friends winning 4th place at trivia. We've since won 1st, but the video of us winning 4th, we just look way more excited. So throw that in there so you can see the personality. And then I've got my simple pleasures, dance class, making endless mood boards for continual alpha and decor inspo, my cat nudging me awake in the morning, Diet Coke, and meaningless internet drama. Photo of me and my friends that I also look really good in, and this video of me and Mango being cuddly and cute. So that's what we've got right now. I try to update it pretty regularly, so all the photos and posts on there are recent. So everything on my profile right now, besides the trivia video, is from this summer, so all recent. I don't know, back when I made that video, I was definitely more excited to be on dating apps than I am now, so I had a real science to it back then. Now I just kind of throw on the most recent photos of me, answer the prompts, however first comes to my brain, and then I close the app and I look at it once a week, and I just try to do other things. Meet people other ways. The apps to me just feel like a supplemental way to meet people and to say that I am available. I'm open-minded of meeting anybody anywhere, but I think for now most of my dating experiences are offline, so I definitely don't put a ton of thought into what's on my dating profile. But I will say the thing that gets the most hits is the video of me and Mango cuddling, which I think is so funny because I'm literally in a sweat set and no makeup in that video, just like rubbing my head on her, but that without a doubt is what gets the most hits on my profile. So, but you know what? It is the last thing on my profile. So clearly they liked the whole thing. Next up, I've got the Rare Beauty Blush in Believe. This is a very purple blush. I saw it and just, I got excited. Thoughts on friends with benefits after a serious relationship with someone? Can transitioning to casual work? Do you want my honest answer? Listen, bestie, it's hard to move on, and it's a lot easier sometimes to be like, oh, it's fine, we can break up and not be together and still fuck, and that's cool, because hanging on to the little bit that they're willing to give you is easier than just moving on altogether. I hear it, I get it. It's worse in the long run. I don't think it works. And that's not to say there's nobody on the planet that could do this, but I think it is a very slim amount of people that could do this in a healthy way. Yeah. I just think it's better for you and your partner to move the fuck on. Going from a serious relationship to friends with benefits just sounds painful, especially if the breakup was brought on by one of you, and then it's like, oh, you're just sort of like taking what you can get, and if what you can get is friends with benefits, then it's better than losing them altogether. That might be how you feel, but it's not the truth. There are other people out there. If it's meant to be, it will be, but I do not think that going from a relationship to friends with benefits works most of the time. I think it's really unnecessarily painful and oftentimes just makes the ending way worse than it needs to be. You do you though, but don't say I didn't warn you. Oh my God. This is why I can't do my makeup in the viewfinder. I look like fucking Violet Beauregard. Is that her name? I look like Violet Beauregard. Next up, I'm gonna throw in some freckles to supplement all the ones that I just covered up. And I'm using the Buble and Rudy Freckle Pen. When did you lose your virginity and story time? I will answer this question. I will not be referring to it as virginity. I will just be referring to it as the first time I had sex. I get that it's the same thing. I do think words are important and virginity is completely fucking made up. But I'll tell you about the first time I had sex. I had sex for the first time when I was 18, about to turn 19, with a man that I met on Tinder 3 days before. I ended up dating this man for about 6 or 7 months, and he, to this day, is the worst person that I've ever dated. So, we got a lot out of the way with that first experience. He was like the majority of my firsts. At that point, I had only ever had my first kiss, been fingered in the backseat of a car, and given a hand job in Central Park. Congratulations, Maddie. So everything else I did with him. First date was on a Friday night in February, and we went to this like dessert place in the East Village. No idea what it's called. Date went so well, he was like, do you want to go out again the next night? I was like, I love and live for the drama. I love a whirlwind romance. Yes, let's go out tomorrow night. So we go to the IFC Center and we see a midnight showing of The Breakfast Club the next night. I love The Breakfast Club. Who doesn't love The Breakfast Club? There's something very romantic about John Hughes movies, 80s movies in general. I loved it. I lived for it. It was working for me. This man was 4 years older than me. He was a senior at NYU. I was a freshman at Marymount. After the movie, we went back to his apartment, hung out, made out. I ended up sleeping over, and then the next morning, which was Super Bowl Sunday, we had sex. Did end up going out with him for the rest of my freshman year. He was the most unkind and selfish person I've ever met in my life. The only props I will give him is that all of my early sexual experiences were positive experiences, and I felt safe during the actual sex. If I could go back in time though, I would beat that bitch up for what he did to me emotionally. Okay? It truly, seriously, does make me very sad to look back on, because I was so young and naive and hopeful, and he knew that he was my first everything and that I'd never really had any dating experiences before him, and I just felt like he totally took advantage of my position in life at that time. He was completely cruel to me, didn't show me any type of care whatsoever, and just, yeah, he just took complete advantage of how naive I was and how much I fucking adored him. So he can go fuck himself. All right, next up, I'm gonna take the Merit Bounce Highlighting Balm and just throw that everywhere. Biggest piece of advice for a girl entering her 20s. That man is not nearly as cool as you think he is. Additionally, you are not asking for too much by asking someone to show up emotionally and communicate with you. You are not too much for asking someone to show you a basic level of human decency and care in order to gain access to your heart. Okay? I spent all of college believing that I was too much, that I was overwhelming, that I was too emotional, that I was too sensitive, that I was a burden to people because I cared about them. You deserve to have boundaries and standards in place for what you expect in order for someone to be close to you. And if those standards and boundaries are not met, you get rid of them. I promise you, he's not that fucking cool, he's not that fucking hot, and you're gonna hate him in a year anyways. So cut him loose. Additionally, I have another thing to say, but let me introduce the next product. I'm also going to add on top the House Labs Bio Radiant Gel Powder Highlighter in Rose Quartz. Additionally, another thing I'll say is when you're making new friends and getting close to new people, be wary of how they talk about other people around you, because how they talk about other people is how they talk about you when you're not around. I would just be very cautious of people that spend a lot of their time shit talking and being a hater. I don't think those are people that you want to become friends with. Venting is one thing, talking shit is an entirely different thing. And also, if someone is constantly in a state of having intense beef with other people, it's kind of a red flag. Just saying. Now I'm just gonna throw on some eyeshadow primer. I'm using the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion because I never left the year 2010. Thanks for asking. Can you please share what purple eyeshadow you use? It's so pigmented and looks incredible. Thank you very much. I have used multiple purple eyeshadows in the time I've been doing this look. I don't find that it really matters, but this is what I've been using for like the last year. The Maddie Ziegler Imagination Palette from Morphe. One time I showed this in a video very briefly and people didn't see the Ziegler, they just saw Maddie, and they were convinced that I was putting out a palette with Morphe. I love you guys so much, but what? These are the colors. I use this one as like a base, then I put this one on top and just buff it out. And that's it, really. It's always a lighter purple and a darker purple mixed together and just blended. What's your relationship with your old videos? Do you ever watch them / still feel proud of them? I mean, definitely not all of them. I mean, I've made hundreds of videos in my lifetime. I definitely don't rewatch all of them, and I don't like all of them. Some of them I would actually rather crawl up in a ball and die than rewatch. The videos that I love looking back on are the music videos I made when I was in middle school and the family vlogs I shot in middle school and early high school. Those are the ones that I love looking back on and find like very nostalgic. I was so unapologetically myself even when I was being severely bullied in school, which I find very endearing now looking back at those videos, like knowing what was going on and seeing how weird I still chose to be. I love that. I think that every teenage girl should have a chance to be weird and make silly little videos and just get to indulge in this cringe, corny side of themselves. I think that it's a beautiful thing to be a cringe teenager. Next up, I'm gonna be using the roller liner eyeliner from Benefit. What are some of your favorite podcasts? I'm a big H3 fan. Ethan and Ela have been my favorite internet creators for a very long time. I've watched the podcast since the podcast began. I'm a paying member. I watch every episode. They put out 5 episodes a week and they're all like 2 to 4 hours long. So that takes up a lot of my time being an H3 fan. But some other podcasts that I listen to when I have the time or when I get a chance to would be Tiny Meat Gang and Insanely Chill. Sometimes Brooke and Connor make a podcast. Loud About Nothing, which is 2 of my friends, Sebastian and Robbie. They're ridiculously fucking funny. I've been on their podcast before, they've been on mine before, and I am also going back on their podcast very soon. So keep an eye out. I actually listen to Tana Mojo's podcast quite a bit because I love the drama. Sometimes I'll listen to Jeff FM because I love the drama. And then sometimes I'll listen to Circle Time or Chosen Family. I don't know, there's a lot of podcasts that I will listen to maybe like every once in a while. But those are probably the main ones. I'm a YouTube girl, as you can see. All right, next I'm gonna throw on my fake lashes. Everyone always asks me which ones I use. These are some cheap ass lashes on Amazon. I do not believe in spending money on lashes. I think all the expensive lashes fall apart after one wear, and I like to wear the same pair of lashes for weeks on end. They get better with age, you know? Hi bestie, how do you feel about the parasocial relationship that we have? I love it. I think we all know that parasocial relationships can be both good and bad. I think the good part about parasocial relationships is it can make you feel a lot less alone. It can give you community in times where you don't have community, or maybe you have community but not this type of community. Like for example, you have a lot of friends but you exist in a plus size body and you don't have a lot of plus size friends or friends that can relate to that experience and connect with you and chat about it. There's a lot of good things about parasocial relationships, but they only stay good if you're able to maintain boundaries and also like have a level of being realistic about it. I feel like you guys are very respectful, to be fair. So I don't have any issues. I feel like, at least in my experience with my audience, you guys are able to connect with me and my content without believing that you like really truly know every part of who I am, or that, you know, we're not strangers. I think that there's still a boundary in place that's like, well, clearly we don't know each other. You are watching this, but I have no idea who you are. I know nothing about you, and also you only see what I choose to put online, the edited, manicured version of my life that I put online. Doesn't make it not real, but it's just not everything, right? And I also don't know the internet everything, and nobody does. You don't, I don't, none of us do. So I don't know, in my head, as long as people understand and respect that, like, yes, we can have this parasocial relationship and there are a lot of pros to it, there are boundaries in place, because at the end of the day, we are still strangers. I don't know you at all. You know a lot about me, but still not as much as you would if you were someone that was actually in my life. So as long as we're able to strike that balance, everything's peachy. Throwing on the YSL mascara, Lash Clash mascara, just to blend these lashes out and add some on my bottom. Finish off this look, I've got my lip products. I use Clinique Black Honey and the Dior Lip Glow Oil in the cherry color. I prefer to wear lip products that do not feel like I'm wearing lip products. This is my signature cartoon character makeup look, and those were all the questions that I'm gonna answer. If you're looking for a little bit more of me, a little bit more of this, you can go listen to my podcast, Emotionally Online. There's a new episode out every single Friday. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Maddie Dragsbaek so you can see everything I'm doing when I'm not posting on here. Now I'm gonna go record the podcast and get a tattoo. Fuck yeah. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.